The fastest growing segment in the Canadian auto industry is the compact SUV, be it premium or non-premium. And this is one of the latest entries into the premium class. It's the NX from Lexus. First look at it, you know it's an edgy, fashion-forward vehicle that's hoping to attract young professionals into the Lexus brand. And the worldwide launch is right here in Whistler, British Columbia.
The compact SUV segment has been the largest or the fastest growing segment and is rapidly approaching that small sedan segment. And we see it's only a matter of time before that happens, largely because people are looking for not just the sporty styling and sporty drive, but they're looking for practicality. And the offerings in this segment are pulling people out of that sedan segment into the compact SUV segment. Well, I guarantee our pricing philosophy will be to be competitive in the segment. With IS, we've shown that if we have a competitive pricing position within the segment, the brand prestige and the aggressive styling of the car has resonated well with the buyer, and we've been very successful with our sales with IS, and we plan to use the same philosophy with NX.
Now, Lexus has stated that their objective with this NX is to be fashion-forward but also functional, to appeal to people for both reasons. And on the inside, I think they've really accomplished that. You see beautiful materials in here, always nicely fitted, and Lexus does a fantastic job at that. You see that same spindle shape in the center console here. It mimics the front of the car. Above that, you've got controls for the heat and ventilation, and then the screen on top of that. Screen comes standard, 7-inch screen, and below you have an area where you place your hand, and that's the controller interface. Now, before you used to have a mouse here, now you have a trackpad. This is optional, by the way, and you can scroll across the screen using that. The base models have a rotary dial, kind of similar to Audi's MMI system. Regardless, it's nicely done. The steering wheel is sporty. You've got controls on here that look very similar to the IS. Some nice little touches. In here is a little compact mirror. Never seen that before. You can, I almost guarantee people are going to put this away and then just use that for their cell phone holder, but it's a nice little touch. The seats, even though this is, you know, a compact SUV, they're a little bit tighter because of the large and high center console, and then the back seats you would think would be rather small, but you've got that sort of theater seating where you sit up quite a bit higher in the back seat, and they've sculpted out the roof liner, and that gives you quite a bit of headroom. I'm 6 feet tall and I fit back there no problem. Now Lexus says it has the most rear seat legroom in this class. I don't know, we'd have to really test it back to back, but the back seat is surprisingly big.
Why Lexus? Well, Lexus has appealed to the luxury populace with its quality, dependability, reliability, more the rational factors in terms of people making the purchase decision. With the aggressive styling and the performance dynamics, now we have an offering which appeals to more the emotional side of the purchase decision. With the combination of the two, my motto is no compromise. So no longer do you have to choose between quality and performance dynamics or aggressive styling versus a boring car. So we feel we've covered the full spectrum of both emotional and rational purchase decisions to have a comprehensive offering in the market.
Before we get going here, I'll explain what's at work because it's new for Lexus. Under the hood is a 2-liter direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, a single turbo but variable scroll, which is helping to get rid of turbo lag. But we're going to get going now, and when you put your foot like quite far down, you really have to wait for that turbocharger to spool up a little bit to about 2,000 RPM to really get out of the pocket. But once this vehicle is underway, it really seems quite happy, especially if you're into that turbo boost. Now, this is an all-wheel drive. All of the NX sold in Canada will be sold with all-wheel drive, but it's a front-wheel drive bias system, which means that it's sending power to the front wheels as often as possible and will only shift power to the rear wheels when slippage is detected in, you know, Canadian winter conditions. But driving in this situation around the mountains, you actually can get a little bit of torque steer from the front steering wheel. But the engine really is smooth and refined, and it's matched to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, when you compare this 2-liter direct injection engine to a mainline competitor like BMW, theirs has 241 horsepower. This engine has 235 with 258 foot-pounds of torque, so it's a little bit less power. Now the hybrid is only going to account for about 10% of these NX sales, and it has a 2.5-liter four-cylinder with what's called the Atkinson cycle, and that's a technological way of getting more out of each liter of fuel. I can't really explain it, it's quite complicated. You marry that to the hybrid system, and the output is just 194 horsepower. Not the most invigorating in terms of output, but it will obviously get better fuel economy. Don't have the fuel economy numbers. We're going to have to wait towards the end of 2014 to get the official ratings. The Lexus executives made it very clear they hope to be competitive with the Audi Q5 and the Acura RDX. Both of those vehicles start around $41,000, so expect the NX to start at roughly the same price. With the new four-cylinder turbocharged engine, it really comes alive right about the 2,500 RPM mark, making launches off the line a bit tepid. Keep in mind, we test drove very early production prototypes, so make sure to try this for yourself. Lexus wants this product to get noticed, and it certainly does, at least initially. The edgy design will turn heads and garner attention. The spindle grille has now migrated across the Lexus family and is very prominent, especially the F-Sport version of the NX. The F-Sport is the upscale, sportier model that Lexus hopes will attract the same youthful buyers that have moved into the Lexus IS compact car. Other than the bigger grille, the F-Sport model also gets larger wheels, a sportier suspension, and LED headlamps on both the low and high beams, where the base model gets LED lamps only on the low setting. When a design is this edgy, it can date quickly. Once the initial "bam, look at me" wears off, the product just becomes part of the vehicular landscape. We'll have to see if this car loses its initial pop. Lexus really has pushed the envelope in terms of styling with their products, and they've proven that there's a market out there. The Lexus IS arguably is their most aggressive-looking sedan. They've brought in younger buyers and more of them to try out their Lexus products. This new vehicle is coming out at the end of 2014, and they hope with the edgy compact SUV crowd, this is going to attract the same young professionals.
Looking for an SUV? All the reviews are available at drivingtelevision.com.